Humabol tayo kahit papaano. Wala, lagare schedule natin. Grabe. Grabe kung kailan. Akala mo tapos na, biglang may mga request, may bagong interview, may bagong ganon. So, medyo mga kameta. Sorry hindi talaga eh. Sabi ko hindi talaga pwede today, pero eto na kasi, ilan oras na lang guys, magkakaroon na tayo ng meeting Meta di Avance. We may see again ha, million strong meeting the Avance sa Pilipinas. The biggest we have seen since what? Panahon ni Cory, right? Or at least since panahon ni Pangulong Duterte. So kanina, ito yung nag-circulate, no? Ito yung nag-circulate na Manila Times. Those were the days, no, na Manila Times na ito, a million for Cory. Yan, a million for Cory. Oh, pansin nyo, balance ang shirt natin ngayon. Very non-partisan, right? Ito ay hindi pula, hindi pink, hindi blue, pero parang all of them combined, no? At hindi rin ito Real Madrid or Liverpool, so wala akong ano dyan, ha? Then may team naman talaga ako dyan sa Champions League Finals, but hindi ako mag-bias dyan. Okay, so very non-partisan po itong kulay. Favorite ko itong mga kulay na to, mga ube, medyo sugary, not so sugary. So ito ha. So ang tanong nga, tomorrow, ito na ba? Are we gonna see a new version of this? Million strong meeting the Avance, whether for Leni, for Bongbong Marcos, for Isko, you know, I mean, if titignan mo actually yung survey ng Okta, Isko is actually number 2 in NCR, number 3 lang si Leni. Iba yung sa Publicos Asia, iba yung sa Pulse Asia. So, medyo iba-iba. But if you're gonna follow Okta, then we might expect Isko also having a big show. After all, Yorme siya ng Manila, di ba? And then, of course, yung kampo nila Bongbong Marcos and Sara Duterte, the unit team, no? Meron sila mga rallies, meeting the Avance in Mindanao, Visayas, and of course, yung Luzon. Medyo tomorrow na, ilang oras na lang, makikita din natin yung show of force by mga unit team. Yan, mga unit team friends natin dyan. Kamusta naman kayo dyan? Ayan, galit pa rin na naman kayo dyan. Dahil sa mga 3 a.m. call, sir, anong gawin natin? Sinugot tayo sa West Philippine Sea. Kalma lang, unity lang sagot dyan. Yan. I-Gcash natin yan, guys. No worries about dyan. So, eto ba? Or, as the kakamping people are hoping, are we gonna see a version of this million strong, right, for Leni Robredo? I'm not sure that will be covered by Manila Times of these days. This is a very different Manila Times. Yung Manila Times ngayon, parang dami ko nakitang versions na parang eto na, alam na natin this. Alright, okay, Matrix time. Very nice, interesting. Okay guys, kamusta naman kayo dyan? Yan. So kanina may mga updates tayo dyan kay Tatay Digong. And then also from ex-suspended, alam nyo na, ex-suspended sa AFB pero hindi naman as spokesman. Okay, pag-usapan natin yan ha. Una-una, ito si Tatay Digong. May news tayo from Tatay Digong. Yan, from Tatay Digong. Diba tawag niya kay Bongbong Marcos, weak leader, spoiled brat. Diba yun ang tawag niya? I just saw that in the news ha. Nandiyan yan. Manila Bulletin ko pa binasa yan, hindi lang sa ABS or Rappler, mga ganon. Okay? Ngayon, biglang walk back na naman si Tatay. Talagang ito si Tatay. Alam mo, tama talagang sinabi ni Senator Marcos. Ito si Duterte, he wants to keep people on their toes. So, biglang ngayon, coming from Tatay Digong, sabi niya, Bongbong Marcos Jr. has lived a simple life. Simple lang naman talagang buhay. Diba? Very simple life. At very thankful siya at naalala niya yung mga araw na kasama siya, si Bongbong, doon sa mga kanyang mga campaigns, nakikisama sa kanya, suporta, talaga si Tatay, Ayan na si Tatay. Siyempre, mukhang sinesense niya na, di ba? Ayan. Tapos may sinabi siya, ito yung parang tape interview niya with Pastor Kibuloy. Yan. SMNI in the house. Yan. Basahin natin wala natin English translation, so please bear with me. Ito. Alam mo, yung kampanya sa pagkasenador, nakikisakay lang yan siya sa akin. Kung may pera siya noon o wala, magtataka kami. Walang pera ito. Wala. Simula noong, wala naman. Mas baluktot pa sa akin to. Simpleng living lang naman. Simpleng living lang yan. Siya. Parang, never mind. Wala siya yung sabihin mo talaga. Ito simpleng living lang yan siya. Okay, that's an interesting prose. Wala siya yung sabihin mo talaga. Yan ang sinabi ni Duterte kay Pastor Esmanay. Yung pera ninakaw hanggang ngayon, wala naman silang nakita. Ito kung maniwala kayo, kung hindi, okay lang. Marcos, may counting pera na iwan. Sequester lahat pati yung sa Switzerland. Di ko na-get. So, meron ba or wala? Ito mahirap kay tatay patapos na si tatay. At least, medyo magpahinga na tayo. Ito, paki-interpret to. Ito is it a yes or no? Yung pera ninakaw hanggang ngayon, wala naman silang nakita. Okay, so negation. Ito kung maniwala kayo, kung hindi, okay lang. So, pwede or hindi. So, meron negation, then suddenly hindi sure. And then Marcos, may konting parang naiwan. So, meron pala na-sequester lahat, pati yung sa Switzerland. Ayan tayo, tatay Ano ba talaga? Ulitin natin guys ito yung sinabi ni tatay. Yung perang ninakaw hanggang ngayon, wala naman silang nakita. Okay, negative. Negative Ito kung maniwala kayo, kung hindi, okay lang. So, maybe yes, maybe no. Okay, so negative and then neutral. 0. And then ngayon, Marcos, may konting perang naiwan na na-sequester lahat, pati yung sa Switzerland. Ayan tayo So, positive bigla. Ayan tayo, tatay Ayan tayo, tatay. Kaya, to be honest bilib na bilib ako sa sarili ko. Kasi 6 years ko na ina-analyze ito si tatay Ayan tayo Ayan tayo Guys, ipopost ko yan mamaya. Kaya nang bahala mag-discursive analysis dyan, Kung ano ba talaga. Ayan, okay. Wait, what? Wait, what? Ano ba talaga? Ano ba talaga, tatay? Parang mamimiss ko to, pero parang hindi. Alam mo yun, guys, yung parang mamimiss ko to mga ganyan style. Pero parang hindi na rin. Tama na, 6 years na rin. Tama na. Uwi na. Gawin na. Ayan, so bahala na kayo mag-interpret dyan kung ano ibig sabihin ni tatay. Kaya ang hirap maglagay ng headline kay tatay Kasi hindi mo alam ano i-quote mo dyan. Kasi depende doon. Pwedeng iba yung maging direction ng artikulo mo, di ba? Ayan tayo Postmodern. Ayan, si tatay postmodern, guys. Truth is in the beer solder eye. Mga kumbaga, di ba? Yan talaga si tatay. Hindi naman siya mapagkatiwalaan ng bilyon-bilyon. Ayan na, this is getting interesting, guys, Bati pa siya noon Of course, in-inherit nila yan, but that would be a very, very tedious process. Ano daw? So, parang sinasabi niya, please correct me if I'm wrong, parang, baka may billion, pero mahirap naman yung billion na hawakan, baka naman hindi. I mean like, so dahil tedious, baka hindi kinuha yung billion Walang hindi si I'm just saying general, okay, this is an expression. Ito Speaking of tatay, not long ago, ito yung sinabi niya. Ito November tawag na kay Marcos Jr., spoiled and weak leader. Hindi ako believe sa kanya. Yan ang maganda dyan Yan ang maganda kay tatay. Of course, guys, speaking of facts, Presidential Commission on Good Government, PCGG, ito yung ahensya na in charge ng retrieving ill-gotten wealth, ay nag-recover na po. Facts na po 170 billion pesos dun sa estimated $10 billion. So sa mga 500 billion pesos, mga 170 ang na-withdraw, na remit or na-recover, no? So ito so alam niyo na yung you know na the whole jazz, right? So I'm not gonna go through this. You should know it yourself. So may facts na tayo dyan. At speaking of tatay, ang hirap i-interpret si tatay. Ulitin natin. Tawagin mo nga si Andrew Baka maan natin dito. Ayan, pasok, Andrew. Paki-explain natin. Ayan, si tatay. Yan ang gusto ko kay tatay eh. It's in the eye of the beholder, hindi beer holder. No? Very postmodern. Ito si tatay. Now, dito naman tayo next. Sir, kalma lang tayo dyan, sir. Kalma lang tayo dyan, sir. Kalma lang tayo dyan. Unity! Alright. Ayon kay Attorney Vic Rodriguez, ang spokesman, chief of staff, consigliere, whatever. Okay, lahat niyan, no? Kumbaga may bongo si Tatay Digong. Oh, okay. Ito pa yung sinabi ni Attorney Rodriguez, no? Ukol sa dun sa mga nagwo-worry, nag-aalala na baka potentially next president natin another Marcos. So ito po yung sinabi niya. I'm being fair. Bongbong Marcos will be the president of all Filipinos regardless of your political color. Ayan pala eh. Kaya na kayo mag-pink. Go na kayo. That is why he is the only that is why he is. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just, that is why he is the only candidate to baka kasi binasa ko si tatay eh. Okay, ito. That is why That is why he is the only candidate. Sorry, okay. Ito, ako na yung mali. That is why he is the only candidate who, from the get-go, from the beginning, already said that he is a unifying brand of... Ayan, unity, guys. Unity ang sagot sa lahat. I-Gcash na yan. Pangbayad ng Grab. Bayad ng internet natin dyan. Okay. It is there in his speech when he announced his candidacy. Yun ang liderato at panguluhan that will define and guide the Bong Marcos presidency if and when he will be blessed to have and enjoy the mandate of the majority of Filipino people on Monday. In fairness naman kay Attorney Rodriguez earlier, he said, I think at yun ang kausap niya na sinabi niya, they want to refrain from complacency. The election day is on May 9. So yung mga surveys, iba yan. Iba yung surveys. Of course, they're confident, happy sila sa surveys, but even sinasabi nila, the final survey or the election will be next week, Monday. So, So, wag masyadong kampante, no? Former Senator Marcos also dun sa recent speech niya, in-announce din niya, no? Ito yung sinabi niya, Ito yung sinabi niya recently na, of course, kampante siya, confident siya, nakikita niya yung sa Okta, Pulse Asia, among others. So, ito po yung sinabi ni Bongbong Marcos BBM, no? Sabi niya, tinranslate sa English to, We already won. Just closely monitor the votes on Monday without sleeping a wink. English na to, of course Tagalog siya nagsalita. Ask all your friends for lots of coffee so that you wouldn't fall asleep because we all know that once we fall asleep, a lot of unfortunate things could happen. Okay. By the way, this is coming from a guy who's the administration bet. Alright? And Tatay Digong just said what a great person he is. Right? Na hindi natin alam ano ba talaga yung sinabi ni Tatay. But yun, diba? So, it's interesting. Now, of course, ini-insist dito na 2016 ay napunta dapat sa kanila, hindi kay Leni. But 3 Supreme Court decisions will say otherwise. But then again, ito yung sinasabi ko eh. Baka after itong election, guys, forget about predicting the future. Baka pati yung past hindi na natin mapapredict. Bawat taon nagiging iba yung kasaysayan natin. Yan po ang mahirap sa Pilipinas. Even our past is unpredictable. Okay? Bahala na. Okay, we will survive. Okay? Alright, okay. So ito si Sarah naman. Hamburger. Yan sabi. If we say victory, ito tagumpay, yung tagumpay. We already won. Everyone wins. So kung panalo sila, panalong lahat, 'di ba? Kung sabi nga ni Mang Johnny, gusto ko happy ka. Gusto ko maraming pagkain. Maraming pagkain. Mga ganyan. Okay, guys? Hamburgers. Okay. Alright, so eto na. Tapos na. Okay na pala eh. Wala pala tayong problema eh, guys. Okay naman eh. Whoever wins, happy tayo. Walang problema. Unity. Kalmado. Sabi naman ni Tatay. Basahin natin ulit Sinabi ni Tatay, paki-explain ulit sa akin Paki-explain ulit sa akin sinabi Tatay. Paala na kayo dyan discursive analysis. Mahirap talaga yung discursive analysis to si Tatay. Okay. Ito. Nasaan na si Tatay? Ulitin natin. Basahin mo natin. Iyong pera ninakaw hanggang ngayon, wala naman silang nakita. Negation. Ito kung maniwala kayo, kung hindi, okay lang. So maybe, not sure. Marcos, may konting perang naiwan na sequester lahat, pati yung sa Switzerland. So ano na? Wait, what? Diba? Oh, okay. Bahala na. Bahala na kayo mag-interpret dyan kay tatay. Alright. In fairness, na-relax ako ha. Medyo na-relax ako ng konti dito sa dark humor natin. I'll admit it. I mean, this is my coping mechanism. I know some would say this is a very tragic situation. Ang gagawin natin, iyak tayo. So we have to deal with what we have to deal. But yun talaga eh. I mean, sinking in all these years, yan ang mga in-interpret ko, yung mga speeches ni Tatay Digong. You can read it whichever way you want. Okay? Now, kanina I was as I said, I'm working on a number of academic materials to analyze what's happening in the country. A number of articles also at the same time now. Of course, sinishare ko yung iba and more to come, God willing. So, you'll have an idea. I mean, ganito kasi. Iba kasi yung nagvo-vlogger ka or journalist ka sa TV or whatever. Iba yung opo ka, magsusulat ka talaga, analyze mo, etc. It's a very different ball game, right? So when I write, I really focus, I write, I give my attention, I really focus, I try to focus. All sorts of perspectives come together. All of these pieces of the puzzles come together. So let me put it this way, no? First of all, I just want to make some clarification. Ito irita ako. Talagang naiirita ako when I hear older people are making millennial bashing and youth bashing. So whenever you say, Marcos, ayan, kasi mga bata na yan, hindi nag-aaral ng kasaysayan, ito mga bata na yan, walang sense of history. Like, excuse me, as I always say, the factor here is not a memory issue per se, it's actually nostalgia issue. And my goodness, tignan niyo naman yung exit poll ng 2016. In fact, you could argue that the reason Leni won eventually is because hindi sumabay yung mga millennials, yung mga mas bata, dun sa mga mas natatanda na marami sa kanila ay actually gusto kay Marcos. So, titignan nyo ito ha. So, look at this. Ito. Ayaw maniwala dyan dito. Check nyo yung exit poll. So, hindi pa ito exit poll, pre-poll na ito. So, yung blue na nakikita nyo, yun yung mga kabataan. Can you see? It's consistently lower than other demographics. Consistently na mas maliit yung blue na kabataan, 18 to 34, kasama ako dyan. Dito sa mga generation, may X ba yun, mas matanda, tsaka boomer. Yung boomer, ang dami ang daming supporters ni Marcos in 2016, boomer yan, boomer. Yung gray, boomer yung mga yan. Ayan tayo eh. Tapos sisisihin yung mga bata, hello, saan galing yung nostalgia? Panoon namin, napakagandang ganito. Panoon namin, piso lang, makakabili ka ng ganun. Ano ulit yung sahod mo, lolo? Ay, hindi man, lolo. Ano po sahod niyo ulit, manong? Sahod po namin 50 centavos. Ayan tayo eh. Paano naging mura yung piso kung ang sahod mo lang ay 50 centavos, di ba? Okay, anyway, ayan na naman tayo, boomer style. Now, I'm not saying all, I'm just saying, by the way, this is all relative comparative. So, please lang, before bashing the younger generations, tignan niyo yung cohorts niyo, alright? Mga ano niyo. Because clearly, it was the older generation. Itong gray ha. I pro Marcos. And sila yung may direct memory, pero voting nila ganyan. Okay, so what do you call that? I call that nostalgia. So this is not an issue of ignorance. This is nostalgia. Now, ibang usapan po yung Gen Z. Alright? Ibang usapan yung Gen Z because let's wait for the exit polls. But some of the data we're seeing right now shows that the Gen Z is really, really buying into the whole TikTok populism of Bongbong Marcos. And clearly, Bongbong Marcos camp has been tapping into this. I think na-realize nila in 2016, they didn't do very well among the younger generation. Blue ha. See, relatively always smaller yung share of votes of Marcos. So, they catered their messaging dun sa kabataan. Right? And maybe for Gen Z, this is working better. And we can see that in the numbers. It seems to be doing very well among Gen Z. So, but, to make a generic statement na mga bata na ito na, I'm sorry. Before doing millennial youth shaming, get your data right. Magbasa kayo, mag-research kayo. Kasi umiinit ang ulo kung bang ganun eh. Mga passing the buck style. kasalanan nyo yan. You didn't do your job. You should have made sure your cohorts and the younger do their job. And yes, kasalanan din ng millennials who haven't maybe passed down enough of sense of history to the younger generation. Yes, let's take responsibility. Ayan na, pagod na. Ayan, that's a sign na medyo pagod na tayo. Ayan, sorry na po. Okay na, mabait na ako. So yun lang, sir, I just had to get that out of my system. Okay? So yung exit polls, tignan nyo 2016 ha, paki-check. Yung millennials, there one big reason actually Leni won, not Marcos. Okay? Paki-check yan ha. Tignan nyo yan. It's nostalgia. Nostalgia of the older generation, which was the big booster to Marcos' camp. Now, it's a different issue with Gen Z, but I still don't want to make a final judgment until makita ko yung exit polls on Monday or Tuesday morning. Alright? So, hihintayin ko yung exit polls. Kasi yung exit polls means, yung mga bumoto dyan, magra-random sampling ka dun sa mga honest, gustong sabihin, dun, alam mo na how they actually voted. Hindi lang preference, but the actual voting. Makaka-capture mo yan sa exit polls. Alright, guys? Okay. So, hintayin ko yan. That's why I'm holding back judgment on Gen Z. And when I say judgment, hindi yung judgy. Just because I'm a zaddy, I'm not judgy. Okay? I'm talking about political assessment. But sa millennials, we have very clear evidence that they were not the booster. Hindi sila booster. Ang booster po ay boomers. Okay? Let's get that fact real. Kasi pag nakita, I'm gonna call out friends, Yung mga experts dyan na kino-quote dito, tas kung ano naman sinasabi dyan, I'm gonna call you out. Alam mo, hindi ako takot. I'm just gonna call you out openly, alright? Marami na ako na-call out dyan, okay? Okay. Ito naman, uminit na naman ang ulo ko dyan. Pasaway Tamad. Sadot. Yan ang sinasabi namin sa Ilocano. Sadot, anyamet, at sadot met. Anmet nga. Uray nga basit nga research, kapsat. Anyamet, han nga mabalin nga kasta. Ag-research kan. Anyamet kababain. Okay. Ayan, okay, now. So, on Gen Z, I'm gonna hold back. I'm gonna wait for them. Okay? Alright, okay. So, mic drop. Boom. Okay. Alright. Now, speaking of what I was talking about a while ago, yan na, pagod na. Yep. So, when I was thinking about it, okay, ganito. So, I have had some interesting interactions on Twitter. Hindi lang si Elon Musk ang maraming kaaway on Twitter. Marami rin tayong mga away dyan. Oo. Ito I'm gonna cover the name para hindi niyo ibabash tong tao na to, okay? So, ito yung tweet ito, low ano lang tayo dyan. Malinis ang nails ko, wag na yan. Malinis, medyo long pero malinis. Anyway, marami tayong hater. Okay, okay, I'm gonna cover. Ito yung sinabi niya. Basta ako, pag hindi nanalo si VP, walay akong pakialam. Tapos, ayaw ng mga Pinoy, mga kaahon, yan. Essentially, you know the drill. Like, blaming the voters, etc. Walay na, ayoko na. Now, this is exactly our problem. People only mobilize when they get excited about the candidate election, and if ever hindi manalo, biglang walay na. Move on, forget about it. Guess what? That's not how you do it in a democracy. You know, so I was thinking about this very systematically. And kanina, what I realized is that from the very beginning, our democracy has been very, very fragile. The level of complacency I see among a lot of people, yung sa dulo, mananalo na rin ang demokrasya, mga ganyan, like, where do you get those ideas? Let's look at history. Tignan natin yung ating kasaysayan. Okay. So, kailan napaalis ang mga Marcoses? 1986, right? 1986. Okay. Kailan sila bumalik? 1991. Okay. So, ilan years lang sila sa Hawaii? Just a few years, right? In exile. Exile in Hawaii is not necessarily exile in paradise. Okay. Happy life. Simpleng tao lang, sabi ni tatay. Simple living. Simple life. Hawaii. Honolulu. Aloha. Yan. Ayan tayo. Okay. Now, I'll show you something very interesting. Think about it. So, Cory Aquino, 1986 to 1992, right? Now, yung first choice ni Cory ay medyo hindi nag-work very much well. But yung kind of second choice niya, yung defense secretary niya, etc., si Ramos, eventually came out victorious in 1992 presidential elections. But my goodness, that election was a close call. That was a close call. And that was the last time that we had a semblance of pro-incumbency election. So, Cory to Ramos, both of them more or less the same in terms of their outlook. At least, alam natin si FBR anong ginawa niya pa noon ni Marcos. But 1986 onwards, they were more or less on the same wavelength, right? In terms of where the country should go, right? Reformist, democratic, right? Now, let me show you some interesting numbers here. So, nanalo si Fidel Ramos with very, very small margins. Only 23.58%. Now, everyone remembers who lost by a very small margin, and some people would even contest that and say dapat talaga nanalo yung isa, right? Which is Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago. And I can say now that, yes, back in the day, I've had work with her in some capacity, right? A very brilliant person. God bless her soul. She is brilliant. Now, I don't agree with everything she said, and, I don't want to go through details, but she's a brilliant person in a sense that she knows who to talk to on issues. She really looks for experts. So God bless her soul. So she got 19.72%. So Ramos got 23.58%. Miriam got 19.72%. Now, this is not the interesting part actually. This is where it gets more interesting. Danding Coangco. Sino yan? Danding Coangco. Crony ni Marcos. He got 18% of the votes. So Danding Coangco's numbers alone was very close to Miriam Defensor and Fidel Ramos. This is 1992. It's just the first transition elections under the post-Marcosian era. But hindi matatapos dyan. Imelda Marcos, tumakbo rin sa election na yan. And she got 10.32%. So, pag nagsama si Danding at si Imelda, which makes perfect sense because both of them are Marcos dictatorship essentially leftovers or whatever you want to call it, they would have got 28% of the votes. They would have got 28%. Way more than Ramos at 23.58%. So kung nagsama lang si Imelda at si Danding Coangco, 1992, under a loyalist single-party platform, right? They would have 1992 pa lang tapos ng laban. That's how close we came to losing whatever we gained out of 1986 people power. For some reason, everyone forgets this. So if Danding Coangco and Imelda just put their numbers together and work together, boom! 1992 pa lang, tapos ng laban. Finish na. Alright, sorry. I shouldn't have said leftovers. Sorry, gabi na, pagod na ako. I've run out of words. I should have said, what should I have said? Hindi science eh. There's a better term I can use. Sorry, yung editor, yung friend ko from Wall Street Journal yung message. Okay. Huwag kayong ganun Be fair to me, pagod ako, okay? I didn't use my best prose tonight, okay? Let's just say the ancien regime, okay? Okay, now that's the term. Let me use the French term from Alexis Tocqueville. The ancien regime, right? Had they put their numbers together, they would have won the 1992 elections pa lang. Now, my good friends, one of them, si Lele Claudio, posted an interesting survey also in 1992 kung saan tinanong yung mga tao yung opinion nila kay Marcos. And guess what? Opinion females was actually very positive 1992 pa lang. Yes, Amy, remnants. True. Okay, yes. I want to say remnants or something else. But you know what? I'm going to use the more technical term, ancien regime. Alright? Ayan, classroom May matutunan na naman kayo today. Ayan, ancien regime. Okay, it's a French term. Alright? the old order. Alright? Ito. This one. Ancien regime. Ancien regime. Okay. Alright. So it's a ancien regime. Okay. So one of the guys who really analyzed this very well, so this means the old regime, right? Old order or old regime. One of the guys who analyzed this very well was, of course, Alexis de Tocqueville, right? Who analyzed also the French Revolution. But let's put that aside. Okay. Sorry, I should have used the word remnants, but I rather use the word ancien regime. Okay. So if Danding and Imelda work it together, 1992 pa lang tapos ng laban. Boom. It's game over. Now, you think everything was fine? No. Sinong next president na sumunod kay Ramos? ERAP. And guess what? ERAP is broadly known by experts and political scientists and observers as loyalist. He likes the Marcos. And in fact, the Marcos loyalist base backed him up until the People Power 2 and all. And that's when they actually essentially abandoned him, right? So in fact, I just came across a Philippine Star report on that the Marcos loyalists withdrew their support of him back in the day during the EDSA People Power 2. But ERAP very much was playing into that loyalist base. And that's why he got such a big support. Because he didn't have only his own massa support, he also had the loyalist support, the Danding support, the Imelda Marcos support, right? That made it very strong for him. Tama na. I see you guys are using a lot of versions of leftovers. Okay, sorry. I had to use a different term. Apologies, okay? Remnants of ancien regime. That's what I rather use. Okay? All right? Are we good? Okay. All right. Okay, sorry. Kakalabas lang yung quotes. Kakalabas lang yung report ng New York Times quoting me. Sorry, I suddenly just things pop up. Sorry, yung mga ganun lang naman nagka-quote sa atin. New York Times, Wall Street Journal, mga ganun. Ganun lang naman levels natin, guys, eh. Kaya maniwala na kayo dun sa vloggers kasi grabing credibility talagang vloggers. Very high credibility, guys. Right. Resident analyst of, okay. Alright. Okay, ito naman. Alaskador na naman ako eh. Okay. Natatawa ako yung pinapost. Hey, Darian, mag-research ka sa... actually, pag mag-research ka sa JSTOR, ang lalabas ang works ko. Doon sa topic na yan, hindi. Okay, anyway. Tama na. Sorry, Lord. Papagalitan naman ako ng mami ko. Sabi na, anak, ito ka na naman. Nag-iiba ka na. Oo na, ma. Nangasar lang kasi kami. Alaskador lang naman eh. Ayan, okay. Yan. Nasaan tayo dyan? Okay. Fragile democracy. So, okay. So 1992, close call. Pag nagsama si Danding at si Imelda, game over. 1998, loyalista, ERAP, nanalo, napaalis. Okay, Arroyo comes in, kinda supposed to be another, Cory and all. Obviously, didn't work out that way, right? And then so Aquino comes. By this time, ang kalaban ni Aquino is Arroyo. No? So the second Aquino, President Aquino, the late President Aquino, by the time he came, ang kalaban niya na hindi na Marcos, wala na siyang time eh. Kasi ang focus talaga niya kay Arroyo. Right? Things went off the rail badly in the 2000s, right? So, 2016, what happens? Digong wins! Another pro-Marcos guy. He openly thanked Marcoses, right? For their support during, his presidential campaign. Tapos, in his gratitude, binary niya, no? Binary niya. Ano bang sasabihin niya? Ano bang pwede sabihin? Hindi binary. Ito na naman tayo, nagkakalat na ako eh. Basta nilagay niya, nag-agree siya na ilagay doon sa, Cemetery of National Heroes natin, yung, yung maon natin dating presidente. Okay, bahala na kayo dyan. Okay, mga, ayan na naman tayo dyan, mga, wala eh. Apparently, even I can get exhausted. Na I'm beginning to feel it. Okay. Pero natawa talaga ako dun sa opening analysis natin, dun sa discourse analysis sa mga quotes ni Tatay Digong. Okay. Alright. So if you look at it, our democracy was always fragile. Or whatever you want to call it, liberal democracy was always fragile. There was always the shadow of Marcoses and their supporters and their loyalists, right? Erap, Duterte, you know? Kung nagsama si Danding and Imelda, 1992 pa lang, game over. And FVR, by the way, formerly was a top general under Marcos. He's a cousin of the Marcoses, right? So, if you look at it, the Aquinos actually didn't have as much time really to really define our post-Marcosian political system because they were constantly being squeezed by different sides. And we had 6 years of Digang. We had 3 years of ERAP, di ba? You know, and the time of Arroyo is not necessarily, I'm sorry, it's not I mean, kalaban na ni Aquino na si Arroyo na eh. I mean, you cannot count. And, by the way, saan pong position ni Ma'am Arroyo? Tita Arroyo ngayon. Obviously, alam natin, advisor siya ni Digong. Tapos, she's known as one of the architects of the UNI team. Right? Okay. Let's get things into perspective. So if you look at it, our democracy was always, or whatever you want to call it, liberal democracy, post-Marcosian democracy, liberal oligarchy. I called it elite democracy, right? Our elite democracy was always fragile and could always relapse into an authoritarian system. This has been a constant thing. Hoy, makinig kayo dyan. Pasaway kayo Diyan na naman kayo sa mga leftovers, remnants, and move on na tayo guys, nag-analyze tayo dito. Ito na naman tayo, nang-aasar na naman kayo, mga alaskador kayo. Mayos kayo. Alright? Now, which brings me back dito sa sinasabi ko na worry ko dito is, some people are excited, are mobilized, and doing everything, but mukhang everything is conditioned by the idea that their candidate should win. So what if their candidate doesn't win? Or what if the candidate wins? And then what? Uwi na tayo? Tapos na nanalo na tayo And I think this is the problem we have. Marami sa atin, focus lang doon sa ballot box, sa election day. Kung natalo, then depressed na for the next 6 years. At least. Kung nanalo, well, nanalo na tayo. Tapos na, okay na. Tapos na yung laban. Bahala na si madam. Bahala na si boss. Siya na mag-ayos. Presidente siya Diba? Pero guys, wag natin kalimutan, hindi po hari ang ating presidente unless nag-aabuso siya sa ng powers niya, diba? So, if you're a good president, there are actually a lot of restrictions on your power sa ilalim ng 1987 Constitution. Ang daming provisions. Yung term limit is just one of them, right? But of course, kung medyo abusado ka, maraming loopholes na pwedeng abusuin, no? So, if you're a good president, reformist, democratic president, you don't have so much power actually. You have many limitations. You have to work with the Congress. You have to work with the judiciary. You have to work with the military, different branches of the government. So kung ang supporters mo, ang thinking lang nila, ang talagang laban lang talaga dito is election lang, right? And kung talo na, uwi na tayo. Kung nanalo na, well, nanalo na. So uwi na rin tayo. Kung ganun yung mindset, delikado tayo, guys. Delikado tayo dyan. Alright? So this is what I've been talking about, guys. That is why, whichever candidate you support, Senator Marcos, Vice President Leni Robredo, duly elected Vice President Leni Robredo, Yorme Isko, whoever, they will need your help once they're in power. They need civic activism to support their best policies and reforms and their best practices. Kailangan talaga yan. Kasi maraming magiging sagabal dyan. Even si Pangulong Digong faced a lot of pushback from a lot of trapos who didn't like some of his policies, right? O ang namin yung sinabi about oligarchs and drugs and all of that. But let's look at his actual achievements, right? Did he significantly bust oligopolies in the countries? No. Same people are still controlling much of our economy. Tapos pumasok pa yung mga bagong oligarchs, right? Duterte oligarchs. So, and then, right? So, whoever you support, guys, never forget that the struggle for democracy, or better Philippines, let's just put it that way, struggle for the better Philippines does not end at the ballot box. It goes way beyond it. And this is where I want to end my note, because tomorrow, guys, is the day of, not reckoning, that will be probably Monday, but tomorrow is the day of revelation, let me put it that way, right? Tomorrow is the day when we will see how people are excited, how people are devoted to a democracy, how far they're willing to go, ilan dyan ang mobilized, how many people are worried, how many people are concerned, how many people want a better future. And of course, the question is, are these people are there just for the meeting, the Avance, or they're gonna be there through and through para palakasin yung pundasyon ng ating demokrasya, right? So that is what is interesting. I hope I can get some time to talk to people tomorrow, God willing. If we get a chance to drop by the meeting, the Avance, I'll try to drop by the, ang mahirap kasi yung parking and all Wala naman akong driver. Kasi kung multiple meeting the Avance, medyo mahirap yun eh. Paano kaya yun? Bahala na. Kailangan ko magtrabaho. Okay. So yun. So yun ang sinasabi natin dyan. Those are the things I want to look at. Alright? Okay. So ito na guys ha. Ito na. Monday na. Election. At bukas is meeting the Avance. Ito na yung mga aerial shot. Ito yung show force. Ito na. All in na. So whichever camp you support. Alright? Go. Do it, guys. Show your love and your concern for the future of our country, for freedom, for the future of our children. Go lang, guys, go lang. All right? Show it all. Parang hindi ako masyadong, go lang. Kaya niya yan. Medyo lobat ah. Kape dyan. Guys, go kayo. Excited tayo. Ayan tayo eh. Andrew E. Paso. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Guys, go. Dapat meron tayo. Alam mo yung mga sound? Yung mga... Kailangan ba i-memorize yan? Yung mga sa mga radio show, may ipapress sila, tapos may tawa-tawa, gano'n. Dapat meron tayong gano'n eh. Tapos magagano'n ako, tapos may mga sounds ng palakpakan. Woo! Gano'n. Okay, alright. Palakpakan. Woo! Gano'n. Okay. Alright. Go! Alright? At kung sakaling nakita niyo ako naggaganon, this is not political. This is Korean. Okay? Di ba yung mga Korean, mahilig sila ganun every time I picture mga Korean. Kansamida! Okay, di ba? So, if you see me doing like that, this is not a political... Sige na nga, kasi si Bongo na ganun na rin eh. Kaya hindi ko na magamit din to eh. Alright? So yan, mga meta de Avance. Alright? Please, support our democracy in whichever you can, all right? And please, Monday, come what may, ha? Come what may. Win, lose, whatever, please don't give up. Please don't give up on our country. Please don't give up on your president or opposition leader, whatever that's gonna be. And please also don't give up dito sa meta natin. All right? Okay? Umayos kayo dyan. Magpahinga na kayo. Mahabang araw bukas. Hanggang gabi na yan. Nako po, and eto na talaga. I'm really expecting. So, is it gonna happen again? Like yung nangyari before? Again, I'm not saying for a specific camp, ha? So, alam natin, in the past, we have seen millions strong, right? Now, is Marcos gonna come up with this? Itong million strong. Is Leni gonna come up with this? Ito. Yung... Alam ko naka-mirror, yung ano ko, hindi ko na pa naayusin eh. So, ito yung hope nila, Leni, na magkakaroon ng ganyan, di ba? Million strong. Now, of course, I'm sure the Marcos camp will also try to come strong in support of their candidate. And then, of course, si Yorme, of course, Batang Tondo, Batang Manila, I'm sure they're also trying to come up with a show of force. Alright? Thank you very much again dun sa mga nanonood sa atin. God bless you. Thank you very much. Please. Okay? Huwag niyong patulan yung mga bloopers natin dyan masyado, ha? Yung mga leftovers natin dyan. Mga Tito Boy, Soto natin. Mga ganyan, ha? Huwag nyo na masyadong ano dyan. Oh, guys. Kahit sino manalo. Uy, nanalong UP? Yeah, maganda yan. Tinalo din naman natin eh. Yeah, maganda yan. See, I like winning too, of course. Pero basta, kahit sino manalo, guys, friendships pa rin tayo, ha? Okay, ha? Wala nang ano, ha? May sisiyan talaga mangyayari dyan, pero walang ano, ha? Friendships tayo dyan, guys, ha? Friendships. Alright, whatever. Ano bang mga signs dyan na neutral, okay? Kahit anong mangyari dyan, guys. Kahit anong mangyari. Kameta pa rin tayo, okay? At huwag kayong mawala ng pag-asa, walay, okay, ganun, okay? Enjoy kayo. Kalmado lang tayo, guys. Kalma lang. Kalmado lang tayo. Techno. Yung mga ganun. Ayan, majijismisan tayo. Bakit ito nagaganon? Yung mga ganun, yung mga techno. Yung mga ganun. Yan. Tapos may flashlight, ganun. Tapos yun na flashlight. Ganun. Lagyan natin ng flashlight. Yan. Yan. Party tayo, guys. Yan. Okay yan. Andrew E. Pasok. Yan. Kahit sino manalo guys, not gonna tayo party mode. Guys, chill lang. Kalmado. Unity guys. Unity. Whatever happens. Yan. Okay. Tama na yan. Tama na yan. Okay. Tama na yan. Tama na yan. Tama na yan. Okay. Turn off ko na dyan. Tama na yan. Okay guys. Yun lang. Good vibes. Chill. Walang walay-walay dito. Andito pa rin ang Pilipinas sa Tuesday, okay? Kahit sino manalo. Andiyan pa rin yung mga kapitbahay natin. Andiyan pa rin yung karinderya. Andiyan pa rin si Manong na makulit. Andiyan pa rin yung mga marites dyan sa kapitbahay dyan sa kabila na ayaw mong lapitan. Alright? Andiyan pa rin tayong lahat. God willing, guys. Come on. Okay? Huwag kayong masyadong, nervyoso, anxious. Be excited. You have a chance to vote. For heaven's sakes, there are many people around the world who would love to have that chance. Right? People in Shanghai, people in North Korea, people in, you know the list, right? Yeah, may elections sa iba, but fake naman yung elections sila. Pero come on guys, be excited. This is our chance. At bukas, kung anong camp kayo, it will be nice to see tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands sa mga kaka-unity team, kakamping, kaka-isko, whatever. Lahat manginginan dyan. Be excited about guys. Yeah, dugs-dugs tayo ulit. Yan guys, excited kayo dyan. Kahit sino manalo. Yan, Zadi na. Wala na, Zadi na. Ayan, shoutout dyan kay Adonis. Thank you sa mga bigay ng stars sa atin. I'm sure that's because of the mga natin dyan, techno moves natin. Yan, yung mga techno moves natin. Yan, okay. Wala na kayo respeto sa akin after. Yan ang mahirap sa meta natin guys eh. Seryoso tayo, conceptual analysis, may theoretical framework, etc. And then biglang, yan ganun na, Zadi moves na. Wala na. But I just said, you never can put a good Zadi down. Alright? Yan. Glenn, thank you very much. Vilma, thank you very much. Gusto mo gawa ng documentary kung may budget tayo, The Secret History of the Philippines. Tapos kasama ko sila Lord De Vera, Xiao Chua, tapos puro mga makulitan, tapos pag-usapan namin ito yung mga tapos mga, alam nyo na, basta yung mga pinag-usapan natin, guys, kasama dyan, kalmado lang dyan, gano'n, okay? Yan ang natin dyan, kaya, kamusta dyan kay Lord De Vera, kay Xiao Chua, yung mga kaibigan natin, friends natin dyan, mga historiador, mga satirist, mga gano'n, yan. Mga kindred spirits, Christina, Jing, thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate it. Okay? Yan, guys, be excited. Go na tayo, boom, boom. Kita nyo, pagod na ako, zading-zadi na. But, deep inside, I know there's something beautiful happening here. Election is beautiful. My goodness, guys. Ilang taon na tayo sa pandemic? Ilang taon tayo sa bahay lang all the time? Well, some of us at least, di ba? Ito na yung panahon. We'll get out. We'll see other people. Exciting, guys. Yun. But, mask kayo and everything. Take care of yourself, okay? Tara na. Bukas, ha. Punta na kayo dyan. Try ko mag-drop by sa iba't ibang meeting Avance, kung kaya sana. Para naman medyo meron tayong comprehensive coverage. Alright? Yan. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Neutral ako, ha. Ito na naman. Alam ko, atake na naman ako. Si Darian, ganun. Excuse me. Criticize ko na lahat ng camps. Some more pasaway. Anong gagawin ko? Kasalanan ko ba, di ba? Ayan tayo. Hindi tayo nakaano dyan. All colors. United colors tayo ngayon. Alright? Okay. Ayan. Alright tayo? Guys, go. Yan. Mga ganon. Yung mga ganon. Alright? Medyo burakay na. Okay? Okay. Ano daw? Benny Benassi? Benny Benassi, mamaya na yan. Okay. Alright. Okay. Now, serious note again, ha? Ito. Itong sasabihin ko, guys, ha? Freedom is like oxygen. You will only notice it when it's no longer there. Right? So please don't take it for granted. You think it's ubiquitous, you think it's something easy, you think it's just innate to us, you take it for granted, we're complacent. But please, always remember, freedom is like oxygen. You will only realize how valuable it is once it's no longer there. So hopefully, hindi yan ang mangyari sa ating bansa. Hindi mangyari sa atin. No matter who becomes our next president, if we do our job, if we mobilize, we stand our ground, hindi lang tayo walay-walay na gano'n na mindset, may pag-asa pang Pilipinas. May pag-asa pa ang ating mga kabataan, the next generation, among others. Okay? Alright. God bless. Thank you very much, guys. Talk to you soon. Alright? Hopefully, on the ground tayo next. Catch up tayo dyan. Alright? At huwag kayong masyadong makulit sa akin, ha? Ako lang pwede mag-alaskador dito. Huwag nyo akong sabayan masyado. Baka sabihin nila, mean tayo. Our metas are very nice. Okay? We're nice people. Okay? Mabait tayo. Okay? Alright.